You've probably noticed something weird happening at the grocery store. You grab what feels like just a few things, maybe some chicken, bread, eggs, a couple of vegetables, and when you get to the register, it's somehow always around $100. Last week it was $97. This week it's $103. You swear you bought less this time, but the total barely moved. It's like there's some invisible force field at exactly $100 that your shopping cart just can't escape from. And no, you're not imagining it. There's actual science and psychology behind why this keeps happening to you, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your grocery receipt the same way again. Let me tell you what's really going on here. Your brain has created what researchers call a mental accounting system, and it's working against you every single time you walk into that store. Back in the 1980s, economist Richard Thaler discovered that people don't actually think about money rationally. We sort our dollars into different mental buckets, and we've collectively decided that somewhere between $80 and $120 is the acceptable bucket for groceries. When you're pushing that cart down the aisle, you're not really tracking individual prices. You're monitoring a feeling, and that feeling is calibrated to your mental budget. Here's where it gets interesting. Grocery stores have known about this for decades, and they've designed everything around exploiting it. The average American household spent about $779 per month on groceries in 2023, which breaks down to roughly $180 per week if you shop twice. But most people don't do one big efficient shop. We make these smaller trips, and each trip gravitates toward that $100 mark because that's what feels normal to us now. The first thing stores do is mess with your size perception. A standard grocery cart holds about 35,000 cubic inches of space. That's enormous. It's literally designed to look half empty even when you've got $100 worth of food in there. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that people buy 40% more when using larger carts because the empty space creates psychological pressure to fill it. You look down, see all that emptiness, and your brain interprets it as not having enough, even though you've already grabbed 12 items that cost $8 each. Then there's the produce section placement. Every single grocery store puts produce right at the entrance, and this isn't an accident. Fresh fruits and vegetables are colorful, they smell good, and they make you feel healthy and virtuous. When you start your trip by loading up on strawberries and kale, you've given yourself what psychologists call a licensing effect. You made good choices, so now you've earned the right to grab those cookies and that fancy cheese later. Studies show that shoppers who begin in the produce section spend 19% more on indulgent items throughout the rest of their trip. The pricing tricks are even more calculated. You've seen those tags that say 2 for $5, right? Here's the thing. Most of the time, you don't actually have to buy 2 to get that price. The individual item is already $2.50, but the wording makes your brain do quick math and decide that you're getting a deal, so you buy both when you only needed one. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research found that this tactic increases sales by 32%. You just spent an extra $2.50 because of how they printed the sign. Let's talk about eye level, because this is where stores make serious money. The most expensive brands are always placed between 4 and 5 feet off the ground, right in your natural sightline. Products at eye level sell 76% better than items on lower or higher shelves. If you've got kids, watch where the sugary cereals live. They're positioned at child eye level, usually around 2.5 feet up, so your toddler can spot the cartoon characters and start begging. Meanwhile, the cheaper store brands are either way up high or down by your ankles, where you have to make a physical effort to find them. Unit pricing is supposed to help you compare costs, but stores know most people don't actually use it. When researchers tracked eye movements in grocery stores, they found that only 12% of shoppers looked at the unit price tags. The rest just grabbed whatever size seemed reasonable. And here's the sneaky part. The bigger size isn't always the better deal anymore. Companies have caught on that we assume bulk is cheaper, so sometimes that family size container costs more per ounce than buying 2 regular sizes. They're counting on you not doing the math. The middle aisles are what grocery industry people call the power aisles, and they're set up like a maze on purpose. The essential stuff you actually came for, milk, eggs, bread, that's all in the back corners. To get there, you have to walk past roughly 40,000 other products, depending on the store size. The average grocery store carries between 30,000 and 50,000 different items. Every single one of those products you pass is a chance for an impulse purchase, and the average shopper makes 5.3 unplanned purchases per trip. At an average of $7 per impulse item, that's $37 you didn't plan to spend. Music plays a bigger role than you'd think. Stores play slower tempo music, usually under 72 beats per minute, because research shows it makes people move through aisles more slowly and spend more time browsing. When one grocery chain tested this, they found that slow music increased sales by 38% compared to fast tempo music. You're literally being lulled into spending more by background violin music you're barely aware of. The bakery smell is is completely manufactured. Most grocery stores have their bakeries near the entrance, and many of them use scent machines to pump that fresh bread smell throughout the store, even during hours when nothing's actually baking. Studies on scent marketing show that pleasant aromas increase shopping time by 26% and improve mood, which makes people more likely to make indulgent purchases. You're not smelling real baking, you're smelling a strategy. Let's get into the actual inflation part, because prices really have jumped. Between 2020 and 2024, egg prices went up 54% at their peak, though they've come back down some. Butter increased 43%. The overall food at home category increased 25% during that same period, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That means what cost you $100 in 2020 now costs about $125 for the exact same items. But here's what's wild. Most people kept their mental budget around that $100 mark anyway. They just started buying less without really realizing it. This is called shrinkflation, and it's everywhere. Your ice cream container shrunk from half a gallon to 1.5 quarts, but the price stayed the same. That's a 12.5% price increase disguised as normal packaging. Cereal boxes got taller and thinner but hold fewer ounces. Toilet paper rolls have fewer sheets. A study by the consumer advocacy group Edgar Dworsky documented over 300 examples of shrinkflation across major brands. Companies know you remember prices better than sizes, so they keep the price steady and reduce what you're actually getting. The checkout lane is the final battlefield for your wallet. Those impulse buy sections at the register generate $5.5 billion annually in the United States alone. The items there are specifically chosen because they're under $5, small enough that your brain categorizes them as not a real purchase. A pack of gum, a candy bar, a cold drink, you've already spent $96, so what's another 4 to round it to an even 100? That's called the what the hell effect in psychology. You've already broken your budget, so you might as well make it worse. Digital coupons and loyalty programs feel like they're saving you money, but they're actually sophisticated data collection systems. Every time you scan that loyalty card, the store learns exactly what you buy, when you buy it, and how much you'll pay. They use this data to send you personalized coupons that seem helpful, but are actually designed to get you to add items to your cart rather than substitute cheaper options. One major chain reported that their loyalty program increased basket size by 17% because members felt like they were saving money, so they bought more. The expiration date game is costing you a fortune too. Most expiration dates are not federally regulated except for infant formula. Those best buy and sell by dates are usually manufacturer suggestions, not safety deadlines. Research shows that American families throw away about 31% of the food they buy, which equals roughly $1,800 per year for a family of 4. That's $150 a month in the trash, and a lot of it happens because we trust dates that don't mean what we think they mean. Store layout changes are deliberate and frequent. Every few months, stores rearrange their shelves, and this isn't to annoy you even though it does. When products move, you can't operate on autopilot anymore. You have to actually look around, which means you see more products, which leads to more impulse purchases. Grocery consultant Paco Underhill found that shoppers who have to search for relocated items spend an average of 12 additional minutes in the store and $23 more per trip. The quality tiers are a psychological trap too. Most products come in 3 versions: the basic store brand, the mid-tier name brand, and the premium option. This is called price anchoring. The expensive premium version isn't really there to sell in huge quantities. It's there to make the middle option look reasonable. When you see organic almond butter for $18, that $11 regular version suddenly seems totally fine, even though the store brand is $6 and tastes basically the same. Research shows that given 3 options, 68% of people choose the middle one. Your shopping time matters more than you realize. The average grocery trip takes 41 minutes, but stores want you there longer. Every additional minute you spend in the store correlates with an extra $1.23 in spending, according to retail analytics data. This is why they make you walk through the entire store to get to the pharmacy, or why the bathrooms are in the back corner. Every step is calculated. The fresh factor is often an illusion. That beautifully arranged produce has probably traveled an average of 1,500 miles to get to your store. Those apples might be nearly a year old, stored in controlled atmosphere warehouses that slow down ripening. The fish at the fish counter was probably frozen and thawed. About 90% of fresh fish sold in the United States was previously frozen. You're paying a premium for freshness that isn't always real. Seasonal placement is weaponized too. Halloween candy shows up in September. Christmas cookies in October. This extended seasonal creep adds an extra $30 billion to annual grocery sales nationwide because people buy holiday items earlier and then buy them again closer to the actual holiday. You're doubling up on purchases across a longer window, all while your regular groceries still need buying. The organic label is worth understanding because it's adding serious money to your bill. Organic products cost on average 47% more than conventional options, but the nutritional difference is minimal, according to Stanford University research that analyzed 237 studies. You're mostly paying for the farming method and the certification process, not dramatically superior nutrition. Sometimes that matters to people for environmental or ethical reasons, and that's fine, but it's not making your body significantly healthier. Ready-to-eat and pre-cut items are the biggest markup in the store. Baby carrots cost 300% more per pound than regular carrots you cut yourself. Pre-shredded cheese costs 40% more than block cheese. Cut fruit costs about 4 times more than whole fruit. The convenience tax is real, and Americans spend roughly $44 billion annually on these time-saving options. The number of choices is actually making you spend more and feel worse. When researchers studied jam purchases, they found that displays with 24 options generated less than 1/10 the sales of displays with only 6 options. Decision fatigue is real. When you're overwhelmed by 16 types of yogurt, your brain gets tired and defaults to either the most familiar brand regardless of price, or it just grabs something to escape the decision. Either way, you're probably not making the most economical choice. Here's what actually works if you want to break the $100 cycle. Shop with a list and stick to it religiously, because studies show list users spend 23% less. Eat before you go, because hungry shoppers spend 64% more on impulse purchases. Check unit prices instead of package prices. Buy store brands for staples, because blind taste tests show people can't tell the difference 71% of the time. Avoid the center aisles where possible and stick to the perimeter where whole foods live. And maybe most importantly, recognize that your $100 comfort zone is just a mental construct that stores have learned to exploit. Your actual needs might cost $60 or $140 depending on the week, and both of those numbers are fine. The problem isn't the total, it's that you're not conscious of how you got there. Once you see the system, you can actually decide whether you're spending your money on what matters to you or just filling an invisible quota that someone else designed.